So last night was the exclusive premiere for Netflix's live-action Avatar adaptation, and we have a bunch of reviews and reactions from the people who attended. Today I'll be breaking it all down, so be sure to smash the like and subscribe buttons and let's get into it. So first up, The Avatarist, a very well-known creator here on YouTube, gave us a sneak peek of his thoughts before making his video. He said, Netflix's Avatar is peak cinema, 10 out of 10, first episode. I will say this, it's not a one-to-one adaptation, which is good. The show is completely faithful in the spirit of the original. It looks like Avatar, it feels like Avatar, it is Avatar. So obviously he absolutely loved it, noting that it is different in ways but stays true to the original where it counts. Now it's important to note that this premiere only showed the first episode. Critics were shown 2 episodes, so it's not a review of the entire show, but for the first quarter of it to be reviewed so well is definitely a good start to the series. Now we'll get to this later on in the video, so make sure you watch till the end, but some absolutely massive content creators had some really bad things to say about a new reveal that Netflix posted on Twitter, including Alternate History Hub, who has an absolutely huge channel. So there are some negatives, but there are also a lot of positives. So POC Culture says, I got to see Netflix's Avatar The Last Airbender. It's truly animation come to life. Between the sets, costumes and SFX, it's a visual feast. The fight choreography and the bending action are epic. I loved it. There are plenty of reviews like that, such as from Raymer's Screen, who said, Netflix Avatar The Last Airbender Episode 1 was spectacular. The live action version has done the old animated show, of which I was a fan, incredible justice. The cast were terrific, the visuals were remarkable, and Gordon Cormier as Aang is a revelation. Mike Thomas from Novice Cinephile reviewed it very highly as well, saying, the first episode of Netflix's Avatar The Last Airbender is fantastic. From the opening scene, you realize that this is far better than the 2010 film. And I don't know what he's talking about there. There was no 2010 film, right? The fights are great, but the standouts are the actors. These kids feel like Team Avatar, a fun new take on a timeless classic. A writer for CBR, Ryan Scarnato, gave it a less glowing but still positive review. He said, as a huge Avatar The Last Airbender fan, I was satisfied with the first 2 episodes of the Netflix Avatar series. I'm cool with the changes and thought the bending was very well done. Some of the acting was a little stiff and I wish it was more cinematic, but it's a solid start. However, as much as there has been a lot of praise for the premiere, some of those who attended were not anywhere near as impressed. JJ Sabato from The Streamer was very disappointed, with him posting to Twitter, I've seen the first episode of Avatar Netflix and it's rough. Way too long and way too much packed into it. Important moments are super underwhelming, acting is meh, costuming, bending and the fights look great, but other VFX are pretty hard to look at. Can we please look up the volume? Now, if you're a Star Wars fan, if you watched Obi-Wan Kenobi, you'll know that the volume was absolutely horribly used there. But then, if you watch The Mandalorian, you can see that it can be used well. It all just depends on the directing and the director himself or herself. His colleague Mo said, I can only give thoughts on episode 1 of Netflix's Avatar The Last Airbender, but yikes. The show is in a rush to get somewhere and feels completely isolating for new viewers. You'll know if this is for you, and this is not for me. Metalcore Nerds said, I got to see the first episode of Avatar The Last Airbender. While the costume production design is top-notch and the action is pretty solid, sadly the tone is really uneven, flip-flopping from overly serious to borderline goofy. Not a total miss, but off to an odd start. So clearly there are some issues being picked up on here from some of the more critical fans, and the VFX seems to be something heavily differed on, depending on who you ask. We can only hope that it will be truly amazing, but given the interesting mix of positive and negative reviews, it's looking like this series has a specific crowd who will love it, and that much like the movie adaptation, everyone else will feel indifferent or hate it. How big the positive crowd is entirely dependent on whether or not Netflix has put their best foot forward with the development of the show. They spent many years going back to the drawing board when it came to the scripts, and it took around 2 years to go from pen to paper to finishing up on the editing. Due to this long production, we obviously hope that they're really doing the best they can, but unfortunately, a new clip that they released really highlights these issues that a lot of the reviewers have been talking about, which is the VFX. In a new snippet that Netflix released on their official Avatar promo account, they show a full scene of Boomy fighting Aang and, well, let's just say it reminded me a lot of the Shyamalan movie, which didn't happen, but it reminded me of that. It's just so bad. The humor feels forced and the effects look absolutely awful. It's honestly such a shame, and this is their big tweet and teaser showing that there's 1 week left until the release to get us excited, but all this did was kill the hype for a lot of people. There are many fans with popular replies to this tweet talking about how bad it looks and how their hype has been destroyed. Among these is, of course, as we mentioned earlier, Alternate History Hub, who said, very simply, oh, that's bad. It is such a shame for this to happen so close to release, but the scene honestly really is just that off-putting. Hopefully the full episode will be better, and this might just be a small negative part that we can just brush off, but hey, you never know when it comes to these adaptations. One Piece, amazing adaptation. Death Note, terrible adaptation. And let's pretend that one doesn't exist either. So those were the reactions from people who have not only been to the premiere episodes, but also to the crazy clip posted on Twitter. If you enjoyed the video and hearing other people's thoughts on what they saw, be sure to smash the like button. Be sure to subscribe for more awesome Avatar content. If you made it this far, drop a thank Mr. Boomy in the comments down below. And let's get hyped.